bona fide beats. Heavy hit spits, wildfire style, freak flows fast, close chord dial, make links slate.
Well, welcome back. And it looks like congratulations are in order. You know, first and foremost, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs and their fan base for their first Super Bowl win in over 50 years. Congratulations to Andy Reid for his very first Super Bowl win. And congratulations to young Patrick Mahomes for Super Bowl MVP and also that inevitable $200 million contract that's on deck for him. I would also like to thank the NFL for finally getting through a playoffs without a controversy with the referees for the first time in a very, very long time. They pretty much stayed out of the game, which is all you can ask for as a fan. Now, there are a couple of things that I would like to discuss this morning. A lot of it revolves around the treatment that Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo are getting from the national media this morning. And I gave you my take on that Super Bowl in the last episode. I expected this game to come down to the quarterback and specifically Jimmy Garoppolo. And I felt like it was time for Jimmy Garoppolo to transcend. And all he needed to do was make one play. And that was what I predicted. If you don't believe me, click on the link in the description and go back and watch that video. Now, Jimmy had his opportunities. Everybody remembers that pass that he missed to Emmanuel Sanders late in the game that could have sealed it. Because football is a game of emotional swings. And we like to say that they're gaining momentum or they're losing momentum, and you can feel that shift in a football game. And undoubtedly, if they would have connected on that pass, it would have been a really, really big momentum shift. But what I'm hearing this morning is Kyle Shanahan is being trashed for abandoning the running game, but he's also being trashed for saying that he doesn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. And what I would like to do is first, I would like to deal with that because saying he abandoned the running game and he doesn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo in the same sentence is a contradiction in terms. Because if you're not running, you're passing. And who's passing the football? It's Jimmy Garoppolo. The other thing I'm hearing this morning is that Jimmy Garoppolo was just inaccurate in this football game. And that is not true. That's just completely not true. Jimmy actually dropped some dimes in this game. And did Patrick Mahomes make any errant throws? Why aren't we hearing about those? So what I want to do is highlight two game situations where the media has used these game situations to try to prove their point. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the end of the first half on the very last possession by the San Francisco 49ers. In that possession, on the very first play of that drive, Raheem Mostert is stopped after I believe it was a 3-yard gain. And they're showing the clip of John Lynch asking for a timeout. And they're using that as a justification to show that Kyle Shanahan does not trust Jimmy Garoppolo. And this is where I have to disagree. Because they're saying, look, Kyle Shanahan does not trust Jimmy Garoppolo in this situation to move the ball forward and get them in position for a field goal to end the half. And what they're not bringing up is the fact that on 3rd and 5, Garoppolo hit Wilson for a 20-yard gain. And on that 1st and 10, Garoppolo dropped an absolute dime on George Kittle that got called back on what you could say was a ticky-tack offensive pass interference call. That would have given them the ball on about the 15-yard line or so with 6 seconds left. Easily enough time to take a shot at the end zone before kicking a field goal. And if that happens, the game feels different coming out into the second half. Because depending on what happened, Kansas City could have been down by as little as 3 or as much as 7 coming out into the second half of the game. And we know on the opening possession of the second half, San Francisco came down and scored a field goal. So the Chiefs could have been down as little as 6 or as much as 10. That doesn't sound like Jimmy Garoppolo choking. Now, my issue with Jimmy Garoppolo is still the same as it always has been. And that's he has an issue with just taking the sack and playing the next down. He has too many situations where he tries to force a throw, trying to make a play. And we saw that on several occasions in this game. The other thing that I would like to highlight is we all know when you lose a football game that there's a lot of blame that should go around that usually doesn't. The quarterback either gets too much credit for when you win or too much blame for when you lose. And no one is talking about that busted coverage that the 49ers had that gave up the 44-yard completion to Tyreek Hill. Now, let me see if I can set this up for you because NFL teams will do this. What they will do is they will line up in the same personnel with the same splits and put the exact same play on tape over and over and over again. And then what they will do is they will make an adjustment on the routes, on the top end of those routes. And what they're trying to do is get someone to take the eye candy and create a hole. We call that a busted coverage. And what it looks like happened to the 49ers on that play was it looked like Emmanuel Mosley took the bait. You can see here, it looks like they're in cover 3 is what it looks like. And he begins his backpedal and he takes the bait of Sammy Watkins crossing the middle. And you can see he looks up and then he sees Tyreek Hill making that curl towards the sideline and he has that old crap moment. And right here at the end of the play, you see him tapping himself as if to say, that was me. I busted that coverage. That was 3rd and 15. So regardless of all of the things that people want to blame Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo for, there were other things that happened in that game because if he stays in that cover 3 and covers that deep third, that's either an interception or an incomplete pass, and it's 4th and 15. And the game is 20-10 at that point. Game is almost over. But this is what happens when you play the blame game. Listen, if I am a 49ers fan this morning, I'm still stung, but the reality is the future is very bright in San Francisco. That is a young, talented, physical football team with a young head coach, and they're going to learn from this experience. They're not a veteran team that mortgaged their future in terms of salary and draft picks to try to get to this position because the window's closing it. In reality, in San Francisco, that window is just opening. So keep your head up, 49ers fans. There's a bright future ahead for you guys. And once again, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs, the world champions in the 2020 NFL season. That's going to do it for me. I'll look at some game film when it comes out, but my focus is shifting towards the Dolphins and their quarterback situation because that's the next in the series of the Dolphins 2020 offseason. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, and look out for that next podcast.
We got keys to the underground. Shimty. Killer Hurt. This for you. About to get sick with it. Exclusive. People. As quick as I can spit it, I'm sick with it. Survivor. You and yours? Riders, born pieces of shit, flip scripts just to get rich. In this rap world, of murder everything except track. Yo, whack. A matter of fact, you never seen dead bodies, the aftermath of what I just did with my arm.